What's up, guys? I just want to let you know that if you're trying to drop some pounds, maybe get shredded, whatever it is that you're trying to do, you got to focus on the macronutrients. This is the key. This is like one of the key ingredients to actually losing weight or getting in shape, shredding down, and understanding where your macronutrients need to be. So for instance, since I've been really focusing on it, instead of having sausage, bacon, pancakes, and eggs, which, don't get me wrong, I really fucking enjoy all that food, right? This is what I have. It's boring, okay? Egg whites, half a slice of cheese. Sometimes I'll have like 7 or 8 egg whites and 1 full egg. Sometimes I'll just have like 3 egg whites and 1 full egg. It really just depends how hungry I am. But this is what you have to do to start your day. You have to eat right. Stay tuned today because I got a story I want to tell you guys. It's a pretty good story. We're going to talk about a little story in the stories today. Now, I know my stories are typically my reality TV show. Today, I want to tell you guys a little story about the Chica Lodge and Hurricane Irma and how I landed a $1.8 million project that turned into about $1.2 million in profit, and why it's important for you guys to realize that when an opportunity knocks, you have to jump at that opportunity and you have to think fast and move fast on your feet in order to capitalize on that opportunity. Because if you don't, believe me, somebody else will. And that's why I want to tell you guys this story about how opportunity knocked on my door in 2017 when Hurricane Irma blasted through the Keys. And when that happened, I jumped at that opportunity to capitalize on the game. So one day I'm riding around in the truck and I get a phone call from Matt at my office. So I was never in the office. I used to just, my big thing is delegating responsibilities. Had all the people in the office running the office, bunch of trucks in the field, and I'm running around. Sometimes I'll pop up on jobs and shit like that. Matt calls me one day and he says, "Hey Mike, I got an opportunity for you, man. Somebody just called and they want to get the air ducts cleaned at the Chica Lodge in the Keys in Isla Mirada. Guy on the phone tells me that he's called 7 different companies and nobody wants to go down there to bid this project. He's like, you want to go bid the Chica? I said, shit, I'm on the way. Tell him I'll be there in like 2.5 hours to 3 hours. He says, right now? I said, I'm jumping in the truck right now. I'm out of here. I'm heading down there right now. That's how quick I move when I know there's an opportunity. And this is also why it's so important to have the right people in your office on your team watching your back. Matt was my right-hand soldier. He was the guy in the office that was like me in the office that I replicated, and I was comfortable leaving him there. He didn't take that call. He just happened to be listening to one of the CSRs that was talking to this person, and that CSR happened to be telling that person, oh no, we don't service the Keys. And Matt was like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? What's going on? What do they need? And she happened to tell him, oh, this is some guy who wants us to give an estimate in the Keys. Matt said, transfer that call to me. He hopped on the phone with that guy, and then boom, that's how that whole lead took place. He happened to capture that lead and then took over that call by doing just a phone takeover. And that's when he realized, hey, there's a big opportunity here. We can't let this one slip through. So I get dispatched the call. I go down to the Keys. I pull up on the job. It's ServPro. ServPro called us because we were a NADCA certified company and they needed a NADCA certified company to come clean all the air ducts so they could pass their mold test, because they were doing a mold remediation and a water damage dry out. They were doing a full-blown remediation project down there. I happened to learn a ton of shit from ServPro on this project, and it just turned into this huge opportunity that just wound up flourishing into a lot of money. I meet the guy and I'm like, I'd never done a job like this before. I used to do, we still do residential air duct cleanings. We'll do some commercial stuff, but never did a job that was that big. There was 240 214 or 220 apartments and a whole bunch of common areas and hallways and all kinds of different stuff like that. So I didn't even know how to bid this job. I had to figure it out. I asked the guy at ServPro, I'm like, man, how should I bid this job? I'm coming in from up north. I got to get guys down here. I got to be able to, I'm going to have to rent some houses and stuff like that. There's going to be a lot of different things that have to happen to do this project. He says, Mike, bid it time, materials, and then cost of all your rentals. Bid travel time, bid all of that stuff, and we'll put it all in the bid and we'll see if we can get it approved for you. I said, all right, sounds like a plan. How soon am I going to get paid? He says, well, as you do your progress, we'll do a progress of completion and you'll get paid that way, where you do a process of completion. So as you do your work every week, you'll put in your invoices and you'll get a wire. And that's where the saying, where's my wire, came into play. So I had to determine, am I going to take this project on? Because this is a big responsibility. Now, meanwhile, my wife's pregnant with Hunter. We hadn't had the baby yet. And she's just about to have the baby. And I'm about to take on a project almost 3 hours away from the house in Isla Mirada. I'm saying to myself, how am I going to take this project and handle this and manage this and put together the manpower to get it done and structure everything while my wife's going to have a baby? I even had to call my wife and be like, yo, I'm about to land this project. At that time, I thought it was going to be a $500,000 project. Didn't realize it was going to turn into 1.8. I'm like, babe, I'm about to land this project and the keys. I got to take this project. We got to figure this out. I can't let this one slip through the cracks. She's like, you know, I'm about to have this baby. I'm like, yeah, I know, man, but I got to do this. I got to do this project. We got to figure this out. We got to figure out how I'm going to do this. That was a challenge. This is where the art of delegation comes into play. And I say this a lot about understanding how to figure out what you need to do. And that's why they say adversity reveals genius and prosperity conceals it. You know, you don't want to be all complacent and comfortable and thinking everything's all good. But when your back's up against the wall, the genius starts to come out. You start to figure out what to do so that you can figure this out. Now, I needed to figure out, how am I going to take on this project, land this deal, make this money, and still be there for my wife at the same time? Shit's hard. Well, that's the art of delegation. That means now I need to bring in another person. I need to bring in another right hand that can man the project, manage the crews, handle everything while I'm still able to stay home with the wife. And then I could just come down a couple times a week and just manage the managers and also manage the crews. Delegation. Now keep in mind, I got a business to run up north, so I can't just take my people from up north and just take them off the jobs that they're doing right now and bring them down south and just be like, okay, we're not going to do work up here, even though I'm spending $70,000 to $80,000 a month in marketing up here, and I got all these leads coming in up here. I got to be able to handle all these leads. I got to be able to handle all these jobs and then get down there. The good news was I landed this project. It was like November. I think Hurricane Irma hit in October or November or something like that. So it was coming into my slow season. So I did have the ability to take some of my guys from up here and bring them down there. But there's also the hurdle of, can these guys leave their families and go down there to work? You know, that's another problem that you gotta think about. Another hurdle that you have to overcome. So now I'm faced with the challenges of, how am I gonna man the job? And I still didn't land the job yet, but I'm trying to figure out, how am I gonna man the job so that if I do land the job, I know I can complete the job. So I put the bid together, time and materials, things like that. And I put an hourly rate together, and I put all these different things together to send over to ServPro so they can submit and see if they can get it approved. I sent all that shit over to ServPro, and I'm like, fuck it, I'll figure out how to get this job done. I'm just gonna submit the bid and see if I can land the project first. I had a few conversations with a couple of my guys that I was interested in bringing down there, but I needed to bring in new help so that I didn't take away from my existing business. I was able to take away a couple of my key players and bring them down there to manage the project, but new help was the key. I submit the bid, boom, right away, I get the approval. Now it's go time. I go down there to talk to the GC, And I'm talking to him about getting these rentals approved so that I can get my people in here and start putting together packages for different people and negotiations on, hey, I'm going to do this for you, I'm going to do that for you, if you can go down to the Keys and handle this project. The GC tells me, oh, I got these rooms up the street and we'll put all your guys in these rooms. So I said, all right, let me check out these rooms. So I drive by this hotel that he wants to put my guys in, and it's a shit box, like a fucking rat hole. I look at this, and I'm looking at this GC, and I go back to the GC, I say, hey buddy, not for nothing. You can't put my guys in this shit box if you think my guys are gonna come down here, leave their families, and come down here to the Keys to go handle this project. These guys live in nice houses. I pay my guys well. I'm not gonna fucking put my guys in these shit boxes. We need to rent them some nice houses so they're motivated to come down here, leave their families, come to the Keys, and actually work. He says, there ain't nothing I can do. So when he tells me that, I said, well then, there ain't nothing I can do. Because if you're gonna put my guys in shit boxes, I'm not gonna be able to get them to come down here. And if I can't get them to come down here, we can't get this job done. And if we can't get this job done, you're back to fucking square one. So what you wanna do? He's like, Mike, I don't know what to tell you, man. Figure it out. Now, I'm not one to jump fences, but in this case, I gotta jump the fence. I said to him, I said, all right, you want me to figure it out? No problem, I'll figure it out. So I go to the hotel maintenance manager, cool ass motherfucker. And I tell the maintenance manager, I'm like, listen, man, not for nothing. I wanna take this project on, I wanna do this job, but if you're gonna put my guys in these shit box rat holes, you're gonna have to find someone else, because my guys are not gonna come down here and do this job if you're gonna put my guys in these shitbox rat holes. It's just not gonna happen. We're not gonna be able to get this job done. So the hotel manager, the maintenance supervisor, says, let me talk to the big boss and I'll get back to you. A couple hours later, I get a phone call. He says, Mike, you got the approval. Do what you gotta do, man. We gotta get this fucking place back up and running. I can't let this continue going on as long as it's going on. I said, done. So I go rent these fucking badass houses. I rent these Mac Daddy houses. I'm talking oceanfront views, badass houses. I gotta do what I gotta do to get my team motivated to come to the Keys and do this job. And this is what it takes. Because I know that if I put my guys in these rat holes, they're not gonna come down here. They ain't even gonna wanna come down here and do this shit. So I rent these badass houses. They share the houses. I'm not renting like one house for one guy. It's one big house with, 5 rooms or whatever it is, badass house. And then I put 5 or 6 guys in that one house. We did this with multiple houses. And I would rent them 1 week at a time. And I brought my guys in, and I would bring guys in to do the jobs, knock these jobs out. And to get these guys, to get more help and more hands, I had to do some marketing. I put ads on Craigslist, I put ads on Indeed.com, and I would put pictures of the houses on these ads and just really make these ads creative and incentivize these guys. Like, we're gonna put you in a badass house in the Keys, you're gonna work, you're gonna get paid, you're gonna get time and a half on your overtime, you're gonna get 60 hours a week. In the slow season, in the HVAC business, that's like gold. All this is like gold to the guys in the HVAC business in November, December in South Florida. You start telling the guy he's gonna get top pay, 60 hours a week, put you in a badass house in the Keys. All of a sudden, I get people calling me, sign me up. This is what I'm talking about, how you gotta get creative and you gotta fight for your people in order to really get shit done. I fought for my team to be able to get this kind of system and this kind of environment, to put my team in this kind of environment in order to knock out this job, in order to do it. I knew what it was gonna take. I knew that, how am I gonna put in an ad? Hey, come to the Keys, I'm gonna put you in a fucking shitbox rat hole hotel. We're gonna pay you good, but you gotta leave your family in the holiday season, and yeah, you're gonna make money. It's not all about the money. It was about the package. It was about the fucking setting, the setup, the environment, the way that I set everything up, and the money. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure I could have found some people, but it would have been fucking really challenging, and I don't think it would have went nearly as fast, as successful, and have people that were consistent and wanted to actually stay and do the work. So I brought in one of my guys from Tampa to manage the project, to manage all the guys. And he happens to be a real funny guy. He was a funny guy. He was just always cracking jokes and just a likable guy. So he was able to keep the people in check and make jokes and shit and keep people happy. Even though, you know, you put a bunch of men together, shit, motherfuckers start fighting and shit. Shit starts getting a little bit fucked up. So he was a peacekeeper, which was cool. And he would keep people smiling, which was another thing that was cool. And he was my person that I delegated the responsibility to manage that project while I was managing it from afar, handling invoices, submitting invoices back and forth and all that shit. I would talk to him every day, and I would go down to the Keys a couple times a week, 2-3 times a week, just to double check on everything, meet with all the bosses and all the managers and all the different people, just to keep shit rolling. When we rolled in to that fucking job site, we would roll in 7 trucks deep, literally 6 trucks deep, sometimes 8 trucks deep, just plowing into that fucking job site. And we were knocking shit out, cleaning coils, cleaning blowers, cleaning air ducts, sanitizing. Guys were white suits and fucking masks and getting everything just dialed in, looking like the hazmat team coming in, fucking handling business, knocking shit out. Every week I would send my invoices and I would talk to my manager, and I would have him talking to the managers at ServPro, and they would take a little bit of time to get me my money, and they would send me my money every week by wire. And every week I'd be talking to my manager, and I'd be like, "Where's my wire? Where's my wire?" These wires were big, man. They were fucking 30 grand, 40 grand, you know, whatever. They were decent sized wires, sometimes 50 grand. We knocked out the air duct cleaning job in like, I want to say a month and a half, and we were done. Then the craziest shit happened. Couldn't fucking believe it. It was weird. We passed our mold inspection. We got everything done. We passed our mold inspection. The air duct cleaning crew was pretty much done. We cleaned everything up. The guys were out of there. And we get a call back from the GC. And he's like, "How much to replace all the ducts?" I'm like, "Bro, we just cleaned them all." He's like, "Yeah, but now they want to replace them." I'm like, "But we just cleaned them all." He says, "Dude, how much to replace them?" I wasn't going to argue. I was like, "Fuck it, okay, how much to replace them?" So I put together the bid, and there was like 200 and something apartments, condos, whatever. And the bid was like, I mean, fuck, dude, it was cheap. It wasn't crazy. I didn't bid it too crazy. I think I bid it like 4,500 or $5,000, something like that per apartment. And then we had like hallways and common grounds and lobbies and all kinds of different stuff with big linear vents that needed custom boxes and custom ducts. And there was just one that was all metal ductwork that I had to get custom made. It was like a $90,000 project just for the metal ductwork section. The ductwork wound up being, I don't know, something like $1.3 million. And the duct cleaning was like 500 grand, something like that for the whole shit. It was a big project. It gave me the green light. And we got into a little bit of a bidding war with one of the local guys down there. But the local guy that was down there, he couldn't handle that project. He had fucking 3 guys. It was gonna take him 2 years to do that job. They knew that we were the company to be able to roll in there with 6, 8 trucks deep and get this shit knocked out. So we wound up winning that project. We were awarded the project to go ahead and knock it out. At this point, I had a bunch of mechanics that were down there cleaning ducts and cleaning coils and blowers, but my guys weren't duct guys that I had down there cleaning ducts and cleaning coils. I had maybe like 2 duct guys on my crew, but they were all duct cleaning guys and mechanics. So now I just won this big project, and I've only got 2 duct guys on my crew, but I know I got a whole team of people that I can put down there as helpers. That's not gonna do it for me. So my back's up against the wall again. What do? I gotta find duct mechanics now. So now I've won this project, and I'm given a certain timeline of getting this project done. Back's up against the wall again. Adversity reveals genius. What do? Fucking hammer it hard. Get on the marketing. Craigslist, Indeed.com, Facebook, Instagram, all that shit. LinkedIn, it didn't matter. I had ads everywhere. I'm looking for duct mechanics. Believe it or not, Craigslist was the one that really did it for me. Craigslist just brought me duct mechanic after duct mechanic after duct mechanic. I guess there were some big construction projects in Miami that had fell through at the time, And oh no, it was the Hard Rock. The Hard Rock Hotel. There were some problems with the Hard Rock Hotel. They were having problems, and I had a bunch of duct mechanics that were scheduled to work at the Hard Rock, and I don't know what happened, but they were having problems, and they all started calling me. And they're like, hey, I'll go work in the Keys. And I said, come on, let's go. Let's fucking do this shit. I wound up meeting up with these duct mechanics, and I hired like 6 duct mechanics, plus the couple that I had. And I just sent them down to the Keys, put them in badass houses. Same thing on repeat over again. I had these 2 Spanish guys that could speak no English, but they were like master duct mechanics. I mean, just fucking, they could cut ductboard, they could fucking run sheet metal. I'm talking tin knockers. They would do custom linear boxes, whatever you wanted them to do, they were banging this shit out. And then I had a couple of guys that were good at like residential, running flex and building boxes, building triangles and all this other stuff. And the master duct mechanics wound up being my leads. And those guys taught some of the other guys how to build custom linear boxes, because in all the condos, they were all custom linear boxes with these fucking 36-inch linear grills that are real custom shit. So they taught all these guys for me how to do these boxes and get this shit knocked out. It was pretty badass. So I'll never forget one part of the job I had going on where we were just trying to knock this shit out. And the guys had fucked up on building some of the boxes. And instead of rebuilding the boxes, they tried to tape this shit and do some bullshit. And that was just gonna create sweating because the ductwork wasn't sealed properly. This happened on like 30 apartments. And I happened to go through those apartments. I went down there and I was inspecting them all. I made these guys rip out all that ductwork and fucking redo it. That shit cost me probably 30 grand just to do that. That was a big fucking mistake that happened. And I didn't catch it fast enough because I wasn't on site. But when I went down there and I caught it, I fixed it. I was more pissed off with the fact that it set us back in our timeline because I had a timeline that I had to meet as opposed to the actual money that it cost me. The money was one thing, don't get me wrong, that got me upset. But what got me even more angry was the timeline. Not being able to meet the timeline was something that was critical to me. And I didn't want to fuck up my reputation with the Chica Lodge because I wanted to continue on doing business with them, hopefully after this whole project. I wanted to be their AC company. And obviously I wanted to try and maybe land other hotels in the area and things like that, and maybe start a location down there or something. So I was more pissed off about that than the money. The money was, part of it, but the fact that we fucked up the timeline, that pissed me off. Meanwhile, I made them rip all that shit out, redo everything, perfect it, make it fucking, the way it's supposed to be. And I caught beef with a couple of the duck guys that were down there because they were doing that shit. I had to fire them. It was a little bit of a problem, but listen, that's the way this business goes. That's the way any business goes. You're going to have problems. Shit can't just be perfect every single time and it's all good. If you think it's all perfect, then, well, think again. So, at the end of the whole project, collected 1.8 million, probably spent 600 grand, something like that, between materials and labor and all that other shit. Fucking put $1.2 million in my pocket in 3 months. Bought a bunch of new vans after that. Fully rebranded my company. New logos, new wraps, new vans. Just kind of set things up in a different manner and changed the company image after I landed that project. It was the most money that I had ever made in such a short period of time in 2017, 2018. That was some serious shit. It was a good job. It was a great job. But you know, it boils down to who's in that office, who's answering those phones, and who's calling the shots. And then when you get an opportunity, how fast do you act on it? Do you sleep on that opportunity, or do you act fast? Back to your regular scheduled programming. I hope you guys enjoyed the little calm story about the Chica Lodge. That was the good old days, you know. But now we're in the better motherfucking days, because we're focused on being the best version of ourselves, focused on getting shredded, focused on being the best dad, being the best family man, still making money, just doing it a little different, still grinding in the HVAC business, just doing it a little different, focusing on that real estate now, a little bit of coaching, a little bit of helping people. I mean, at the end of the day, good people help other people. And one of my big goals now in life, since I've accomplished so many different things, is to help you become the best version of you. So if you haven't already hopped on the team, DM me, MF90, let's roll.